Some quadratic equations give up their secrets easily. X squared minus 5x plus 6 splits neatly into two brackets. But change only two numbers and factoring collapses. X squared minus 4x minus 3 still has two real solutions, but no pair of whole numbers will ever find them. So instead of guessing, let us build one master key, a single formula that unlocks every quadratic that will ever exist. Here is every quadratic equation written at once. A, B, and C can be any numbers, as long as A is not 0. Our goal is to get X completely alone, and the strategy is beautiful. We will reshape the left side into a perfect square, because a square is the one shape we already know how to undo. First, divide every term by A. Now the leading term is exactly x squared, and I can picture that as a real square whose side length is x. Second, push the constant across to the other side. Now look at what remains on the left, a square of side x plus b over a times x. And that second term is simply a rectangle with height x and width b over a. Here is the key move of the whole video. Cut that rectangle exactly in half and slide one half up to the top. Each half now has width b over 2a. That is where the 2a comes from. It was never invented. It came from cutting in half. Look at the shape now. It is almost a square. Almost. One small corner is missing, and that corner measures b over 2a squared. So we add it. And whatever we add on the left, we must add on the right to keep the equation honest. And now the left side is a genuine square with side length x plus b over 2a. On the right, put the two fractions over the common denominator 4a squared, and the numerator becomes b squared minus 4ac. You have just met the discriminant. Take the square root of both sides. And right here, the plus or minus appears, not as a decoration, but because a square hides the sign. Two different numbers, one positive and one negative, can square to exactly the same value. Finally, subtract b over 2a from both sides. Both terms already share the denominator 2a, so they merge into one fraction. And there it is, the quadratic formula, built from nothing but a square. On a graph, because it is telling you a very simple story. Minus b over 2a is the axis of symmetry, the exact middle of the parabola. And the square root part is the distance you walk left and right from that middle to land on each root. Find the center, then step out equally in both directions. And b squared minus 4ac decides the size of that step, or whether you can step at all. So the quadratic formula is not a random string of symbols to memorize. It is completing the square, carried out one single time for every quadratic that will ever exist. The 2a came from cutting a rectangle in half. The plus or minus came from the symmetry of the parabola. Nothing here was magic.